All right, guys. Here's a good one for you. Somebody asked me today, and I said I'm going to make a video on that, and I'll post it on YouTube so they can see it. Right. So somebody asked me if they missed the boat. Right. So for example, they missed the Bitcoin, and if Bitcoin now is only going on a parabolic ride and it's going to hit the $20,000-$30,000 mark or whatever, what's the next cheapest option they can have, right? Now they've obviously they're not entirely a newbie, but the fact is they asked me the question, what would you choose, right? And it's a very important one. Like, what would I choose, and how would I determine what a good project is or something? Because you've got all these 7,400 projects out there, and I can tell you this much: about 90% of them, or 95% to be precise, probably going to be junk, right? So how do you find the gem in the junk, right? And I mean, for me, I look at things completely different. I look at the macro perspective of certain things. I try to understand, okay, like, for me, Bitcoin is the biggest because I can see the potential of Bitcoin and what it's going to become, right? So for that reason, I'm an early adopter. When it came to Ethereum, I stayed away from Ethereum for a very long time, and I can tell you this, right? I did not touch Ethereum from the point when it was even like $8, $9, $10. I think it was like $15 or something at the time when I first time I actually even touched it and played around with it. And then I'll tell you what, I got so annoyed with the grey and all of this bullshit that it has with the transaction. I got fed up and I said, you know what, unless it's simplified, I'm not going in. So then I did enter Ethereum, and I entered it many years later. In fact, I entered back in 2019. And I said, okay, do you know what? I'm gonna give it a chance, but I didn't enter the traditional way, and I don't like the grey bullshit and all of that, as I said. So I just bought it on an exchange. Very simple. It's very fast. I put my card on, boom, just bought it. Happy days, right? And I'm seeing good growth on that, so I'm quite happy with Ethereum. And once I got into it, then I done a little bit of a deep dive, right? So it was quite opposite. I did a deep dive on Bitcoin before I went into Bitcoin. And when it came to Ethereum, I actually bought Ethereum, and then I started doing a deep dive to understand the fundamentals and to understand what the potential is, right? Because I'm in it for the money, right? I'm not in it for anything else, right? I'm in it for the money. I want to make my money. I want to save my money. That's what I want to do. And I want to avoid scams, obviously. So, I went into Ethereum and I understood what it is, and I said, okay, now I have a bigger understanding and I can see the potential, so let me go into it. And remember one thing, every single time I buy a cryptocurrency, and I've got quite a few, I don't buy them with so I do buy them to make money, but for me to be a sane investor, so you've got to be sane in this, right? So you can't lose your wits and this and that. You can't get angry. You can't lose, be emotional. All of those things, right? So for me, whenever I invest into something, I always plan to invest for 5 years. Now, if it does make me a significant amount of money within 5 minutes, guess what? I will exit. I will exit, and I'll find something else. So, but my long-term thing is, so this is not like a permanent thing, whereas in Bitcoin is permanent, right? I want to stash as many Bitcoins as I can. That's a permanent plan, right? I want to be in Bitcoin as long as I can until I die, pretty much, right? That's my Bitcoin strategy. But when it comes to Ethereum or other shitcoins that I have, right, those ones are quite different, because those ones, I'm in it for the gain. And I'm in it for the Bitcoin gain. So what I mean by that is, how many more Bitcoins can I get, or by exchanging them at a later date? That's what I'm looking for, right? So when I'm talking about making money, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about how much more Bitcoin can I make. So when it comes to coins like that, I look at the macro, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to be in it for 5 minutes, so there's no emotion for the next 5 years, right? 5 years later, or 5 minutes later, if I make a significant amount of money, I might get a bit emotional and say, do you know what, I've made a shit ton of money, I'm getting out, right? So that's my strategy anyway. But the mindset is different. And so there's so many different projects out there, like, you got, for example, the new craze is DeFi, right? And I'll be honest with you, I am in a few DeFi. There's 2 particular DeFi that I'm in, and I don't mind it. And there's a third one that I will go in, but at the a particular moment, the price is too expensive. The one I really want to get into, and I didn't in the beginning, was Yearn Finance, because it just freaked the shit out of me, right? I mean, when you see something just come out and then the price just jumps and shoots up to 24, 30,000 pounds, right? You got a problem there. You know, and I don't regret not going in, but I'm just saying, dude, that's just, you know, unbelievable amount of money. And then the other day I was looking at what's the highest price coin in the coin market cap, and I found a coin that's like worth $11 million, right? Or almost $12 million. There's only one of those coins. So clearly they're fighting around, someone created it. Anyway, whatever, right? $1 million, $11 million, right? You know, good luck to him, whoever owns that one coin. You know what I mean? It's one of those kind of things. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So what I'm trying to say is, there are coins out there, or tokens, or whatever you want to call them, that you have to understand what are they trying to build, or what are they trying to do. So you've got the new DeFi, which is all about decentralized finance, borrowing, lending, yield farming, and XYZ. Yeah, some of them are great, some of them are bad. You know, I am involved in yield farming, but I'm not involved in the DeFi scene. So this is quite funny. I've bought DeFi tokens, right? And two specifically I've bought, and I want to buy the third one. As I said, Yearn Finance, that's going to be my third one that I'm going to buy. But I have a price point that I want to enter. Until it reaches that price point, I'm never going to enter it. So until then, let's just see how it matures, right? So that's that one. And then you've got like loads of different coins that have protocols, right? They're just protocol coins, like protocol tokens, right? So those ones, again, I want to see how the protocol adoption is taking place. So yeah, you might have thousands of ideas, and some of these are brilliant minds, right? You know, coming into space and doing things. And yeah, you know, they have potential to grow or make you a significant amount of money. But when it comes to me finding a certain project, what I look for, and these are the fundamentals, is the coin decentralized? It's very important for me. Is the coin decentralized? I don't mind a centralized exchange. I'll be honest with you. I don't mind a centralized exchange, but the coin, right? So when I'm looking at a coin, I need to understand the coin has to be decentralized. So I look for decentralized project, complete decentralized. There is no, you know, the owners have nothing. That's what I'm looking for. So those are the little gems that I look for, because the community then decides what the price is going to be. Also, what I do look at is current market. For example, what I've been looking at is how the market's been trending, and especially these coins, how they pair up with Bitcoin. And I'm looking for, like, whenever I go in, I'm always looking for a discount, a bargain, right? So I look for coins that came out and what the highs were and what the lows were. And you know, I have to be honest with you, I found 4 specific coins that are protocols and completely decentralized. In fact, one of them I don't think is completely, but I am going to do a lot more research on that one. But decentralized, and the beautiful thing is they've just recently launched on their mainnet, number one. So they have their own blockchain, which is very good. So that's one of the factors I'm looking at, is do they have a blockchain? And if they do, what are they doing different? Because that does make a lot of change, because Bitcoin's blockchain, you have to understand, is what it is, right? And not a lot of innovations going into it, or maybe in the future it will, but I don't think that innovation is going to come into Bitcoin until it is totally centralized, right? Or owned by centralized bodies, or whatever you want to call it, right? So this is what I'm thinking. So I know it's going to be centralized in a manner that all these big giants or whales are going to come in, and these guys are going to be mostly institutions, and they're going to make those changes, or they're going to make some changes happen through the developer community. So this is why you know, I love it, but at the same time I understand that I want to be at the forefront of innovation. So some of these new blockchains that are coming, they're very smart, they're very clever. They've taken all the problems that other ones have, and they've solved those problems, right? And I think that's the solution that we need, because if they can innovate faster, then I don't think people who would want to innovate Bitcoin would actually do it. So in my opinion, they'll probably just jump to the easiest one available. So I'll give you a good example of that, right? So Ripple has its own blockchain, or it's like a fork, or, you know, of whatever blockchain. But Ripple decided to launch Spark token on Avalanche, right? And Avalanche is a blockchain that has some very good fundamentals, and, you know, a lot of the key features of other popular protocols. So like, yeah, it's got functions of Bitcoin. It's also got functions of Ethereum. In fact, it's actually interoperable with Ethereum, and it allows you to do smart contracts and everything. So it's definite innovation. So the number 3 coin in the market cap decides to go and build something on Avalanche using their blockchain. That just speaks for itself. They could have easily built their own blockchain, but they didn't, because they can't sort those problems. So when it comes to a company like Avalanche, I'm looking forward to it, and this is what a project that I would definitely be investing into, solely because of what they've done. They've taken the problem, which is scalability and this and that whatnot in Bitcoin, and they've created a whole brand new one. So they're not really doing anything with Bitcoin, but what they've done is they've innovated the technology, which is now going to empower all sorts of other stuff that Bitcoin can't do. And so then that takes away the part that, why would the development community on Bitcoin really bother doing anything other than basically just speculating on the price? Because somebody else has a ready-made solution, right? And ready-made solutions are really good, right? As I said, I like centralized exchanges, I like decentralized coins, and I also like decentralized blockchains, and they are a complete decentralized blockchain. And those are beautiful things that, for me, it just makes maths that that's a particular coin that I will definitely buy. So there are multiple aspects you have to understand. Is like, as I said, there are hundreds of them trying to do something. I mean, there was one coin, I forgot what it was. The name doesn't ring a bell. They were going to build the Wi-Fi. Seriously? You were going to build a Wi-Fi network? Yeah, try taking all the telecommunications companies out first before you can buy a thing. You got to be worth a few trillion for you to even buy up those companies in order for you to implement your own thing. So those are the kind of crazy ideas that people have put money into during some ICOs and this and that, right? There was another one where they were going to build a whole link of satellites that would do wireless technology, Wi-Fi technology or internet technology. Funny thing is you need resources, you need money, and guess who's doing it already? Tesla. You think Tesla's going to give up his project for you, and you think you're going to be able to get those approvals? So you got to be logical about those kind of things, right? Let's just understand the mathematics. Like, okay, it's a great idea, but somebody else is already doing it, and he's not going to give it up, right? And he's one step ahead of you, right? So I don't think the government's going to say, okay, do you know what, competition's fair, let's put another one. No, it's not going to be like that. Right, and even if it is, right, it's going to be really hard, and you're going to need a lot of money behind you to do that. So those are the very basic fundamentals that I'm looking at whenever I look at a project. So yeah, it's all good. We like the how would I say, the positive nature of people who are creating all of these projects and what they want to do with it. And a lot of money does go in, and eventually these coins do trade and make money, and some make money, some lose money, but ultimately someone's got to lose, right? So I'm not shilling the projects. I'm just trying to say, basically, you got to understand why would I invest into something that is not going to be innovated or that has no other purpose, right? So when it comes to Bitcoin, it has one purpose, and it's proving itself. It's the longest standing one with that one purpose. It's clearly a peer-to-peer cash system, right? Peer-to-peer money system. And that's what it is designed for, and that's what it's going to be, regardless what other innovations you might hear that may be coming on. It doesn't matter. It could be the smart contract. It could be the money for everybody, the bank for the bankless, right? But seriously, a bank for the bankless don't have $20,000, right? Let's just, get that part out of the way. Bankless don't have $20,000 to have a Bitcoin, right? The fees are so high, yeah? They're going to be basically trading their week's worth of salary, right? That's why they're the bankless, right? So let's be realistic about certain things like this. So this is what I wanted to say, basically. So you got to understand, I mean, Ethereum is great, right? But Ethereum powers probably 7,300 or 7,200 of all of those projects that you see. So that's what Ethereum has done. Without Ethereum, it wouldn't have been possible. Without Ethereum, everyone would have had to build blockchains. And there's only a handful of blockchains out there compared to the number of coins, right? And then also, you have to understand, a lot of these coins and tokens are just smart contracts. They're just basically contracts, nothing else. And they got value. So, whoever's making them is creating value out of them, which is great. That is definitely innovation, and that's how it should be. and it does help the global market cap when projects like this come out. So I'm not shilling anybody. I'm definitely saying that innovation is good, but then as an investor, I'm looking at projects and I'm looking at utility, and I'm trying to mathematically calculate and say, right, okay, so what is for example, what is the Bitcoin's next stage? What is Bitcoin going to do? What is Ethereum going to do? You know, what is a Cardano going to do? What is say for example Monero going to do? So many different things. Like for example, a lot of the exchanges are boycotting Monero, right, or will be boycotting Monero because of its privacy reasons and because of regulatory pressure that they're receiving. So question now remains is Monero going to be still worth buying and keeping? Is Monero's future still going to be inter-exchangeable, right, through companies like Changely and this and that? And if I wanted to cash out, how would I do that, right? So those are the questions. If Monero solves all of these problems and gives us a thing, says, right, you know, you're still going to be, because I think Monero is going to be the dark market thing, right? It's going to be that that coin that nobody knows about, but it's there, right? So I do still believe in Monero because of its privacy reasons, and I love Monero because of that. But the problem is Monero is going to be facing is a backlash from all these regulatory institutes and all these you know, regulated exchanges. So even though I like regulated exchanges, centralized exchanges, now I see a problem, and a problem I see is only for privacy coins, right? Because regulation or everything, they want to track you. So how is Monero going to deal with that? So those are the questions. So would I invest heavily into Monero right now? No, I'll probably keep a few, but I don't think it's a gamble. But at this present moment, I don't know what Monero is going to do about that. So if I was the owner or founder of Monero or the developers of Monero, I'd be thinking about, okay, how do we protect Monero and how do we make sure that it doesn't get wasted or become nothing, you know, in the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 100 years. So it's forward thinking, right? So you got to look at the macro. So this is what I want to say. You know, so that's what I'm looking for anyway. When it comes to looking for coins or projects or investments that I want to make, I'm looking at the usability in the future and the potential in the future. And so far, I think the potential that I can see is mostly in the blockchains, right? I think a lot of these blockchain companies will actually succeed because people, if they make it easy for anybody to develop on, if they make all of these things simple, like for example, I think Cardano recently, they are now launching a few other things as well. They're launching stuff like you can work with Java and this and that, and basic language basically, so they don't make it complicated, right? Whereas in Ethereum is pretty complicated because it's in a completely different language, Solidity, right? You know, running something on Bitcoin is not simple either. So those kind of things you have to look at, where something, you know, if you make it user friendly and easy. I mean, let me just go somewhere else with this one, right? 1 second. Imagine WordPress, right? Let's just go to WordPress. WordPress makes it so easy, it's plug and play, that pretty much majority of the websites on the planet are powered by WordPress. Simple. Then you had companies like Square, companies like what's the other one? There's another one, I forgot what it's called. Anyway, they all came in and they diversified and they said, okay, WordPress is good, it's plug and play, but still needs a little bit of tweaking around. What if we make a builder that you literally just drag the design, put it there, and it's ready, it's active? So you'll see a lot of these website builders out there who are doing very good. So that's innovation, right? It's taken something that's existing and just made it a tad bit more better. So now anybody with any user level can actually use that. And those are the kind of things I'm saying. So if a blockchain becomes that thing where everybody can use it, or anybody can use it, you know, with whatever level of experience they have, then it has the potential of having a lot of people, developers and everybody coming on and building more projects. So Ethereum almost did that, but it is slightly still exclusive only to Ethereum. But I think if they can bring in all the coding languages and put it into like PHP, Java, MySQL, not MySQL, Ruby, you know, Python, you name it, right? So if they can get all of those things and put it into a platform and say anybody with those language skills can come and build something, I think we're going to see a huge explosion of innovation coming through. I mean, there are blockchain which some of them are specific to certain factors, right? So some are finance-based blockchains, some are contract-based blockchains, some are things. Ethereum does pretty much okay with all of them in some form or a manner. It has its problems, but it's not one of those kind of things. Imagine you had a software or a blockchain that has a coding language where an amateur, a simpleton, can go in and, like Squarespace, for example, can go in and create something at a tap of a few buttons and run his shop from there on the blockchain. I mean, imagine that, right? He can accept cryptocurrency, it's cross-chain interoperability, which means he can accept any payment, on one blockchain. Those are the things. So I'm talking about like atomic swap chains and this and that. So ultimately, rather than having multiple things, if they can evolve and innovate and bring in something like this, that's a project that I will be looking forward to. You just got to give it time. So if I do enter, for example, Avalanche, I will definitely enter that one. And I'm going to put something that I can afford to lose, right? That's the whole idea. If you can't afford to lose, don't invest. So remember, I told you, I'm not an investor. So, I'm not your financial advisor, right? I don't get paid by you to do that. So the point is you have to understand that looking for that next project, what is that project doing? One other thing, you'll find a lot of people talking about teams. Trust me, I don't care who the team is, right? As long as it's decentralized, I don't give a shit about who the team is. Yeah, you could be a bloody, whoever, what's his name, Einstein. I don't give a fuck if you're Einstein, right? For me, it doesn't matter, right? The reason I believe in Satoshi Nakamoto is because I don't have a clue who the fuck he is, right? So those are the kind of things you have to understand. The reason I always hated Ethereum was because Ethereum Foundation has all the top 500 S&P companies, the Fortune 500, invested into it. Does it look decentralized to you? No, it's centralized. But I understood the fundamentals and I said, okay, do you know what? I think they're onto something. Okay, I'll give them a chance. But do you think I put all my eggs in one basket? No, I'm not heavily invested into Ethereum. I only have a few Ethereum. All right, a few as in, okay, enough to run a node, probably, the new smart contract node. But that's all I'll tell you. But the point is I bought them cheap. I'm okay, and I've invested what I'm willing to lose. Simple as that.